Hi everybody, in today's process video I am going to share with you a kit that I put together using some of the Graphic 45 The Beach is Calling papers, and if you choose to purchase this kit there is a link in the description box below where you can purchase it from me. It will have all of the supplies that you will need to complete a double page layout, a single page layout, and then a card from the scraps. So I'm going to go through all the things that we are going to create, and then I'll walk you through the supplies that you'll get in the kit, and then I'll actually show you how I've created each of these pieces. Starting with the card, this was made with all of the scraps that I have left over, just a basic 6x6 card here. Then this is my double layout. So it has 2 pages. I'm going to show them to you individually first. There are frames here, and this one, it's supposed to be open at the top. It is open at the side, so you can still slide your photo in there, but it should also be open at the top. There, it was just caught slightly, so that you can place your photo in it if you don't have photos yet. Same thing down here with this one. There are chipboard pieces here and here, the titles, and the little chipboard pieces just give a little tiny bit of dimension. And then the second page here, same thing, but with this one, this whole side is open, so a 5x7 photo will slide in there. And then up here at the top, this one is open, so you can slide your 4x6 photo. And then we've got the 2 chipboard pieces here to add a little bit of dimension. And then side by side, hopefully you'll be able to see this in frame. This is the double layout. Then I've also made a single page layout, which can be great if you tend to do a full scrapbook. This could be the first or last page in the book, or if you only have 2 photos from a day trip to the beach or something like that, and you only have a 1-page spread. Very simple, very clean look to it. You could also add more to this with some embellishments if you choose to do so, adding titles or adding some of your own journaling here. You can add some ephemera or bling. You can add additional chipboard pieces, but the idea behind this was using up the scraps from the double layout, but also just being able to have a very clean look. I love the papers and they're very clean looking to me, so that's where I went with this layout. If you choose to order the kit, the link is in the description box below. This is what you will receive. So there are written instructions for completing the 3 different projects. If you choose not to follow the video, you prefer the written instructions. I've got my piece of twine here for the single page layout. You've got your chipboard pieces. Then we have the 3 different Graphic 45 papers. And then we have all of the cardstock that we're going to use for the matting. So we've got a piece of the navy, piece of the cream, we've got another small piece of the cream. This Kraft is for the card base, and then we have 3 pieces of plain white cardstock. So you will receive all of this in your kit. You will then be able to cut all of the papers on your own. So the kit is not going to be pre-cut. That way, if you choose to do something a little bit differently, you do have the option to do so. In the rest of the video, I will go through and put together all of my layouts and my card. So if you prefer a video tutorial to written instructions and you've purchased the kit, you can go ahead and follow along. And if you are watching this video and you are interested in other Graphic 45 kits like this, go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know. So this is something that I decided to give a try. I wasn't sure if people would be interested in Graphic 45 layout kits or not, so I would love to hear your feedback. First, we're going to start by assembling the double layout. Now I have all of my pieces already laid out, but nothing is adhered down, and I'm going to show you how to put this together. One of the things that I typically do when I make my layouts is I will place everything down before I adhere anything down, just so that I can move anything around before anything is down permanently. And that can be really helpful for me before I go ahead and place everything down in my final layout. So I'm going to move the right side of the page off to the side and focus only on the left side for now. Now you do have instructions in your kit if you purchase the kit from my shop where you can follow along with this. So I'm going to remove all of these pieces off of here, and then we will start placing them on together. Starting with the white 12 by 12 paper, and then taking your piece of Every Seashell Has a Story. You can either draw a straight line and cut this. I actually drew a straight line and then I tore mine. So you want to go diagonally from the left corner, the bottom left corner to the top right corner. Now, if you prefer this side of the paper, you could use this side of the paper as well. You would just have to make sure that you tear it in the correct direction. But I'm going to be using this piece and I'm going to be placing this here. So go ahead and choose whichever adhesive you prefer for your layouts and we'll adhere this down. Now this is also a great time to ink the edges of your paper if you are using any type of distress inking. I'm not going to for my layouts. I just want them to be very clean and simple. Once the background paper is on, I'm going to take my border strip here and I'm going to adhere this down here across the bottom. Now I'm going to place mine directly on the bottom, but if you want to leave a small space, you can also do that, but you don't want it to be too far up because it will run into the other things that are going to be on the page. Once that border strip is on, we're going to take the seashell border strip and we're going to add this to the top. And just like the bottom, I'm going to have mine be right at the top edge. Next, I'm going to be taking my frame piece. I've already cut the center out and I'm going to turn this over to the side. I'm going to be placing my cream cardstock mat behind it, but I'm going to be leaving it open so that the photos can slide underneath. So I'm only going to adhere down the right side and the bottom edge. So I'm going to place my adhesive here along that right side and then across that bottom edge. Now, if you already have your photos printed as you were making your layout, you can go ahead and do this and it won't matter because you can put your photo down and you don't even need to put the cream cardstock mat if you don't want to, because you likely will not see it if you're using a 4x6 photo. But if you are like me and you don't have any photos yet for your layout, you want to just add that, so then your photo will slide in here later and then you can put some adhesive on there to tack it down. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my little blue frame. So I've cut out the center of this and I have my 3x4 card, and on this one I am going to apply my adhesive down the left side and the bottom. Again, if you already have your photo printed, you could just place your photo on here and save yourself this step. So I'm going to flip this over and make sure that that cream mat isn't sticking out at all. Perfect. Then I have my one little piece from my border strip, my one little beach house that I've cut out. And I'm going to adhere this down here. So I'm just going to add my adhesive to the frame. That way, when this is on here, again, my photo can still slide behind it and it won't be caught on anything. So you want to make sure that this is not adhered down. Now I have my paper back in. I'm going to start to add my pieces on. I'm going to start with the large frame piece and I'm going to just place this roughly in the center. Then I've got my postage stamp with my seagull on it. I'm going to tuck behind this over top of the border. And then I'm going to bring this down a little bit so that it doesn't hide too much of that image. I'm going to take my smaller blue frame and put it underneath this bottom right corner, just slightly. Then I'm going to take my other image with the sandcastle and I'm going to place it here underneath the bottom left corner. With the happiness is a day at the beach, I'm going to place that here, and I'll take my seashell chipboard piece and place it here. So I'm layering this all up, trying to make sure I don't have too much of that photo covered, so I can move this around as needed. I'm going to place this here This is where I'm going to know if everything is spaced correctly when I put these pieces on. So now I need to bring this down just a little tiny bit. I want a little bit more white space around the title at the top. So if I bring that down some more, then I can bring this down. I can move that. So I'm just shifting things until I like the look of it. I'm going to take this, place it here, and take this one and place it down here. And then I have these little pieces here that I've cut each of the lines out individually. And I'm going to adhere these here. Now, if you want to make this a journaling spot instead, you could do that, but I'm going to just have mine with these little sayings on it, or the sentiment. And I'm just going to space it until I like the look of it on my page, just like that. First, I'm going to take the seashell back off. I'm going to start by adhering this piece down. So only along this edge right here. That way the photo will slide behind it. Then I'm going to place this right back down on the paper. And then I'm going to take this and apply my adhesive to that bottom section of my chipboard piece and apply it here. Now I can take this chipboard piece and I'm just applying a little bit of adhesive here. I don't need a lot. This one, I'm just going to put this on the corner like that. So once I have those, I'm going to start with these pieces, my chipboard titles, and then I'm going to come back and add these in. That's going to place things on the page first, and then I will show you how I mark my layout so that I know exactly where to put the things when I pick them up. Now, once I have all those pieces on, I'm going to go ahead first and I just add very small marks, which you won't really be able to see probably on camera, but you'll be able to see them if you do this. So I just put marks right at the edge so that I know exactly where to place these pieces. So right from the corner, very tiny little lines so that I know where to line this up. And then for this one, I've got this up here. And I can do that as a mark there. So what I need to do first is take my layers underneath. I'll start with this one up here. I'm going to remove it and just add a little bit of adhesive to the back side. And then I'm going to place this under here and find my marks. There's my marks there and there, and I will use those to place this down. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this one down here. Once I have my adhesive on, I will go ahead and add mine there like that. And so the nice thing about this, you see how my piece just shifted? I've got my mark here, I can line it up, and then I've got my mark here, I can line it up right back where it was. I'll take this one. There's that one. And then finally, I will take my larger piece and apply my adhesive here. And then I will use those marks that I have on my paper to line this up and place this down. Now I want to be careful on this piece. I want to make sure that I don't have any adhesive on the front of this piece here because I don't want it to get on my photo. And I want that photo to go underneath of there if I haven't put one in yet. So you want to make sure that this is open. And remember, this is open for that photo to slide under. So you want to make sure that there's no adhesive there. This piece is open for that photo to slide under there. I'm going to start removing my pieces from my layout, and then we will go ahead and add these pieces back on just like we did for the previous side. We're going to start with our second half of our ripped or cut paper, and we are going to apply this to the top left corner of the page. Next, I'm going to take my Every Seashell Has a Story border, and I'm going to be placing this down at the bottom edge of the page. Now this one is not a full 12 inches long, so I'm going to be centering it so that there is a little tiny bit on each side, and I'm going to place this even with that edge. So there's going to be about 1/4 inch on each side. That does have some white space. In the instructions, it tells you how to cut this and then remove this piece. And we're going to leave a piece of this open. So I'm going to leave this side open so that my photo will tuck underneath of it. So when I come over here, I am going to apply my adhesive here around the sides, the top and the bottom. And then I'll place my cardstock piece right in here. Then we're going to take the blue frame piece, cut the card out of it. This one is going to be at the top, so I'm going to have this top left corner open. So I am going to put my adhesive on the bottom and on the right sides only. And then I'll take my piece of cream cardstock and back it on here. Again, if you have your photo already, you can just add your photo now and you don't need to add this cardstock piece since you will not actually see it. For this piece, I will be using my ruler just to very quickly measure. It's going to be about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch from the right edge and about 1 inch from the bottom. And then I'm going to take this piece. Now, if you want your photos, let's say you have 2 photos that are in the portrait orientation, you can put your piece here if you wanted to do it this way, but I'm going to put one here like this. Then this. Oh, now I need to make sure. Okay, so I forgot when I was doing this. I guess it's okay. It's still at the top, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to leave my top edge open for the photo to slide into. I've got my Sleep, Eat, Beach, Repeat piece here. And this one here is going to go here. This is where I know I've cut my piece so that it will go right at the edge of the paper and to the edge of my frame. So that's where I know where my frame needs to go. And then this piece here is going to go down here on this. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/4 inch from the edge. I'm going to first add my adhesive down here. You could also add it to your frame. It might be a little bit easier if you do it to your frame. But I'm going to put mine here in the center. You want to make sure that that top section isn't adhered down, so that photo will slide behind it if you don't already have one in it. And then here I'm going to do the same thing with the beach houses. I'm going to apply my adhesive only to that bottom section and then adhere this down here. And this will hold a 5x7 photo, or if you only want a 4x6, you would be able to put a 4x6. You just see that cream. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my little lines like I mentioned before. This one and this one. So I'm going to take this off and this off first, and I'm going to place this one down. Now I want to make sure that when I do this, I leave this part of the paper where I need to slide my photo. I'm going to leave that open, so I'm not placing any adhesive there. That way this whole piece is actually open for me to place my photo underneath. Next, I'm going to take this one and apply this one to the top of my page. Again, making sure that I use those marks that I've created, and it's about 1/4 of an inch from the left edge and the top edge, approximately. And then I'm going to take this piece before I really push it down, make sure that it's still lined up correctly, and then I'll adhere this one down. And now I'll take my strip here and apply my adhesive to it. And go ahead and line up the edge with the edge of the page and press that one down. And then I have my pieces here. I'm going to adhere this one to just the frame section. And then this chipboard seashell here, I'm going to apply my adhesive to it and place it down here at the bottom. So this is the double layout. You can also go ahead and add gems, pearls, liquid pearls, wink of Stella, stickles, any other things if you want to embellish this more. Next, we're going to go ahead and assemble the single page layout. Here are all of the pieces for my single page layout. I'm going to remove all of them, show you how to put everything together on the page, and we're going to go ahead and assemble this one. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take my navy mats and my cards. Now if you already have your photos, you don't have to place these on here, or you can double mat them, but this will make your photos smaller. So just kind of be aware of that. Or if you like these and you don't want to cover up these images, you can do them in whichever orientation you would prefer. But I'm going to go ahead and adhere these. Next, I've taken my twine and I've cut this into 2 pieces. The first measures 7 inches, the second measures 5 inches. My 7-inch piece is for my landscape photo mat. I'm going to be placing this down here at the bottom. So how I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to use some tape for this step here. Make sure that it's at the bottom. Okay. I'm going to put about 1/2 inch on the bottom. And then I'm going to add my tape here. Then I will have this go across the bottom of my piece. I'm going to leave it open so that way that photo can slide behind it. And then I'm going to bring this over on the back side and secure this on the other side with another piece of tape. So now I have my little piece of string across that bottom portion of that one. And I've got my twine here. I'm going to do the same thing on my portrait orientation piece. I'm going to take 2 pieces of my tape, but I'm going to put this across the top of this one. So I'm going to do this on the back side first. On one side. And I'm going to secure it here. Then make sure that it's straight across that top. You can measure if you want it to be perfectly straight. And then adhere that other side down. So next I'm going to take my white paper, starting with my photo mat that's in the landscape orientation. I'm going to place it down here in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to take my postage stamp strip and place it here for now. I'm just placing these on the page. I will give you a better measurement in just a second. So I need to take this. I'm just going to set it here. So we're going to have a small white gap in between all of our pieces, about 1/2 inch from the left edge and about 3/4 inch from the bottom. Then we're going to line up these so that this left edge is straight. Next, we'll take this photo mat and we're going to line these edges up so that the bottom of the photo mat is lined up with the bottom of the postage stamps, and these right sides of these 2 photo mats are lined up. Then we're going to take the salt in the air, sand in my hair piece and place it here at the top so that these tops are lined up. Then we're going to take the 2 border strips that are together as one and place it here. Then we'll take our large decorative card, or you could add a 3rd photo here. I'm going to leave mine, I think, as a card, just as a decoration. But I guess I'll figure that out really once I get my photos for my layout. And then I'm going to take my row of postage stamps and place it down here. Now you will have a little bit left over here, and that's okay. I mean, you could space this out further if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave mine so that there's more space down at the bottom. And then you've got this space up here at the top. You can journal in these spots, or you can add titles if you choose to do so. So once I have this on the page, I've got about 1/2 inch on both sides. From this, I've got 3/4 inch from the bottom to the bottom of that, and then about 1 inch from the top down to the top of that photo mat. Now, just like for my double layout, I'm going to do the same thing here as I did with that. I'm going to start with this photo mat, and I'm going to very carefully mark where I'm going to place this. Then I'm going to take this piece here and make sure that it is straight, because once I have that one on the page, the rest of it will follow. So I'm just going to take my adhesive here for this one and adhere this right down to my page. I'll take my postage stamp images, add my adhesive, and then adhere this right down to my layout. With this one, just being careful. You can also use your ruler if you want to make sure that this is straight. If you just place your ruler there, you can then use it as a guide for placing your pieces. I like to do that sometimes just to make sure that everything is lined up. Then next we'll take our portrait photo mat Now I'm going to just pull these down a little bit, get them out of my way. And then I'm going to start here with my first little border strip. I'll take the ruler here and then add this one, leaving that small space. Taking my second border strip piece, adding my adhesive to this one, leaving that small space between them. And here you can use your ruler on this side to line everything up. Then I'll take my larger matted piece, and then I'm going to use my ruler here to make everything is straight. And then I will take my final piece with those little postage stamps, and I'm going to place this one here just below that large matted piece. And that is it for the single page layout. It's pretty plain overall, but you can do some things to make it a little bit more decorative. You can add some gems or pearls to it. You can add some additional things. You can add a title. Perhaps you have a specific beach that you went to. You can add the title or the date on it. You can do some journaling. So it's really up to you if you want to add more to it. But I wanted this layout to be very clean and simple. Here's how we are going to construct our card. So I'm going to take all of my pieces off first and guide you through the process. I have my piece of 12 by 12 cardstock that I have scored at 6 inches and folded in half. Now, if you want your card to open this direction, you can do that as well, since it is the same exact size. So I'm going to first take my strip with the beach houses on it and place it right down here at the bottom. Now I have my strip of postage stamps. I've got 4 stamps here. They are going to fit perfectly here in this top left corner, and I'm going to make sure to line up that edge with the left edge of the piece that I put on the bottom. Next, I'm going to take my beach therapy card and place it here right next to my postage stamps, but with a small border between it that matches the border between these pieces here. Next, I'm going to take my small postage stamp with the boat on it, and I'm going to place it in this bottom portion here. Now, you may need to trim your piece slightly so that it will fit and you have a uniform border, but I have already done so ahead of time, so my piece fits. It's the right size. Then I've taken a piece of this border strip here, and I've just cut it to measure or to fit, so I've just measured mine. So mine is about 1 and a little bit more than 1 3/4 of an inch, but you want to do this once you have your pieces in place, because you want to make sure it is the same size as this so that it will fit perfectly here. Then for this top piece, what I have done is I've taken a leftover strip from my blue navy paper, and I am going to add it here right at the top, and it is 4.5 inches long. For my inside decorative piece, I decided just to use these pieces. I will not be using this portion, so I've just added my 3 postage stamps down the center of my navy blue cardstock strip, and I've cut the sentiment in half and applied it in a layer. Then I'm just going to take this and adhere it just down the side of my card so that it is just a simple decoration. Not a whole lot, but definitely gives you a little bit of something inside this card, and then room here that you could stamp a sentiment or you could write a message to the recipient. We do have this piece left over. You could decorate something here, you could add more here, or you could add that to the envelope. But again, just a pretty basic card with all of the scraps. So really the only scraps that I have left over from my papers are these pieces here. I hope you have enjoyed putting together your graphic 45 The Beach is Calling layouts and making the card with your scraps. I would love to have your feedback on these layouts and the card, and to know if you're interested in other graphic 45 paper collections as a kit. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.